Hey everyone, today we'll be going over chapter 11 of Victimology, which looks at property and identity theft. And starting with theft, theft is any unlawful taking of a person's property from them. The key is that this can't be taken with any sort of force or violence or threats. Examples of this would be stealing a bike, pickpocketing, or shoplifting. Again, no threat involved. And this is also the most common crime victimization in America. It makes up about a little over 55% of all victimization reported. When looking at theft, a few interesting characteristics stand out. Households that are headed by people that are young, which in this case was up to 19 years old, they report much higher rates of victimization than older people. And secondly, and this one surprised me, as the number of people in the household go up, theft also increases. That one was surprising. I feel like more people would lead to less victimization, as people might be aware that there could be extra people in the house and stuff like that, but that's not the case. This chapter then gets into motor vehicle theft, which is the unlawful taking of another person's vehicle, as well as carjacking, which is taking an occupied vehicle by an armed offender. And the difference between these two is that carjacking is armed and the person is occupying the car. Theft is just taking a car, or motor vehicle theft would just be taking a car, no force, anything like that. This chapter then gets into burglary, and starting with household burglary, which is the unlawful entry of any sort of home or structure with the intent to commit a felony or theft. And it also gets into home invasion, which is the burglary of a residence in which the offender entering is using force against any of the residents living inside. And the difference between this, again, just like motor vehicle theft and carjacking, is that with home invasion, you're using force against the people occupying it, and theft is just, not theft, burglary is just the unlawful entry into it. And when looking at what households are typically burglarized, people with like a single female household is more likely to be burglarized, households with children as well. Households that the head of the household is of two or more races is more likely to be victimized. And it's also highest in rental properties, so if you're living like in a rental property, you're more likely to be victimized in that sense. And the risk factor for this is routine activities theory, which is just because it typically, co-aligned with it. There's the motivated offender, obviously, because the person's going to go burglarize the house. There's the suitable target and the lack of a capable guardian. Typically when people burglarize a house, there's not always people in there. Sometimes in home invasion there is, but at the same time, they're the ones armed, so they have the upper hand in the situation. To close out the chapter, it gets into identity theft, which is using another person's identity in order to commit any sort of fraud. This can be a wide range of things, like just any kind of account hijacking, or just taking anyone's data from their stuff and using it for your benefit with their identity. So the victims of this, typically people of more than one race, have higher victimizations, as well as persons 50 and older. And if you make annually more than $75,000, you're also more likely to be victimized. This is probably due to the fact that they have more to steal, and so they're more likely to do it. Risk factors for this, again, routine activities theory, and also having a credit card and checking balance, or a bank account rather. And I believe that part is just because you can't really, have identity theft with cash, but if you have someone's like credit card or bank information, like you can do identity theft with that, because you can like hijack that from somebody else. If you just took someone's cash, that wouldn't be identity theft. That would just be stealing it from them. That'd be theft and whatnot. So, yeah, that is chapter 11.